I didn't choose to lead a boss life, it chose me.
It chose me.
Sorry, was I too aggressive? Maybe I should be more soft-spoken so that way I won't scare people off. Man. Hi guys, my name is Nita. I'm a professional iPhone photographer, curator of Glow Up Your Life, and also a growth coach. And I'm here to share to you why my last relationship ended and what I've learned from it. It's just water in here, so your girl's gonna be struggling today. Just kidding. Have you ever been in a relationship where everything seemed fine and out of nowhere, it just ended? No real explanation, no clear reasoning. You're just left with confusion. That's happened to me, and for a long time, I struggled to understand why. Now, I'm not here to bash anyone or tell you that my ex was a terrible person, because guess what? That's not necessarily true. This isn't about blaming. It's about understanding. Because sometimes the most painful part about a breakup isn't necessarily the loss itself. It's mostly the lack of clarity. It's the unanswered questions. It's feeling like you weren't enough when in reality, the situation was never about you in the first place. For the last 2 years, I've been on a deep personal development journey. 2 years of celibacy, 2 years of reflection, and 2 years of doing the interpersonal work. And let me just say this, I am not the same person that I was 2 years ago. The version of me back then, she didn't fully understand the patterns, the red flags, or even her own self-worth the way that I do now. And trust me, 25-year-old me would have laughed at the idea of celibacy.
Why would I do that? I ain't trying to be a nun.
That's what I thought. It would have never crossed my mind of something that I would willingly choose. But also at the same time, I felt like it kind of chose me too, because there were moments of when I was like, oh, I could totally like be with this guy. But then when I realized, oh wait, that guy wrapped up too tight in the head, so there was a lot of that. So that's what I think by like choosing celibacy. It's not like necessarily saying I don't want to date and I don't want to do this. It just, I feel like when the right person comes, then I will let it happen, rather than no one necessarily I find worth it. It's not saying that I haven't been wanting it. I want a relationship and I want something real, but at the same time, I'm very picky, as I should be, because I know my worth. Honestly, it's been one of the best decisions that I've ever made. It's given me clarity, self-awareness, self-discipline, everything that I didn't realize that I needed. And now looking back, I can confidently say that it's given me everything that I didn't know that I was gonna need to make me into the woman that I am today. But this journey hasn't just been about relationships. It's about growing in different parts and areas of my life. Over the past few years, I've been growing my business as a professional iPhone photographer, shooting 400 plus clients, having work on billboards, being on the news, traveling overseas, doing music videos, basically proving that you don't need expensive gear to have an amazing career or high quality visuals. But I didn't stop there. I created Glow Up Your Life. It's an event and soon to be conference that is center focused on glowing your business inside and out, glowing personally inside and out with extra knowledge and using the tool that you already have, which is your cell phone. I really like neon luxury environments, so the theme of it all is always going to be neon luxury. And I think your environment does play a huge role on your life, who you are as a person. I'm basically helping people glow from the inside out, both personally, professionally, and business-wise. And now as a growth coach, I help with businesses and entrepreneurs, helping them evolve and expand and adapt in the modern world. I train teams on how to utilize the iPhone or their mobile devices to level up their brand. Because in today's world, content is everything. So through this journey, I also discovered something super major about myself, like the fact that I have ADHD. But once I started to understand it, I realized it could be more of a superpower outlook rather than a negative thing holding me back. It's actually one of my greatest strengths. With the combination of my personality and mindset, it gives me the ability to really think outside the box, push creative narratives, and have more innovative ideas that can help not just myself, but a lot of other people and businesses. And it truly has been a game changer as an entrepreneur. I say all this because at the end of the day, I'm not just about helping myself grow, but also helping other people grow too. Whether it's in relationship, businesses, personal development, my mission is to help people break out of what's holding them back. So today I want to start this journey by talking about something very personal that I had to go through, something that changed my perspective on growth, love, and relationships forever. So stick around and hear why my relationship ended and what I learned from it. Whew. When we first got together, I felt like everything just clicked. He came off as confident, independent, sure of himself. And I always would be like, oh my gosh, you're just like me. I thought I had found someone who matched my energy, someone who wanted to grow just like me. But looking back, there were things that I should have paid more attention to rather than ignoring it. But I couldn't blame myself because I didn't have the knowledge that I didn't know then of what I know now. It was the lack of leadership in taking charge. There were moments where they were wanting to do things and wanting things done. And it's like they kind of just relied on others to have a say so rather than guiding to what is beneficial for everybody and for what they were trying to accomplish. But it was a lot of delaying, a lot of time being passed, and not a lot of action being taken. And I always would tell them, like, you need to take the reins, you need to do something about it. Just like me, like when I lost opportunities, I had to do something about it. They would bend over backwards with people who would always make them feel good about them. I was always scared that someone was going to get in that person's ear and say something that made them feel really good about themselves. Then they would, cross their own boundaries for it, for them, for it. I remember there was one time where they were super fascinated by this producer. Like, talked about how they were obsessed with this person. Like, this person was so cool, this so great. Not necessarily obsessed, but just admired. They said that they were like smoking with them. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because you don't smoke. So I was like, well, it's just, in the environment, whatever. It was cool. I'm like, that's going against like what you're kind of about, and it was just like, I always feared that someone else was going to get in that person in their ear in the future, and then they're going to bend over backwards over what they stand for. Like, for example, when I go to an event and there's alcohol over the place, I'm not drinking because I don't drink. If I'm going to an event or a club where there's cocaine or whatever, like drugs, I'm not going to do it because that's not me. I don't care how you sweet talk me in my ear or say I'm amazing, you should try it. I don't cave under peer pressure. Now, don't get me wrong, past me may have, but me now, I know where I stand. It's like going to the car mechanic shop and then they're saying, we fixed your oil and all this, but would you like to fix your air filter? No, I'm good. No, I would like my keys and go. Thanks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't bending over backwards. I don't care how much you say my car is amazing and it's great, but like, I don't care. I don't want to know. I'm good. That came for the oil change. Thanks. Another thing too was they had big dreams, but they never necessarily followed through. It didn't necessarily bother me because, everyone grows at their own pace, but it would later play a huge effect to later in my relationship with that person. And so those are some of the red flags that I kind of noticed, and a lot of people pleasing too as well. Like, but at the same time, I was a little bit of that too. So they were there. The flags were there. I'll be honest. And at the time I thought, that's just who he is. He'll grow out of it. Like, we're both young. But little did I know that was going to be start of it all to the end of it all. Something that you may not know going into this. However it starts is normally how it's going to end. The problem that you see in the beginning is normally the problem that's going to end that relationship, whether you realize that or not. At first it was small things. Like, they weren't as engaged in talking about future, plans together. They stopped putting in the effort to wanting to hang out and spend time together. They started to make excuses. Like, for example, I wanted to join them on a work trip. I was willing to save up money and all that stuff and do it. And then they were like, that's not financially responsible. And it's like, yeah, but I only see you like twice a month. Like, that's kind of weird to say that. And then the real red flags started to kick in when they said, if we broke up, I would be fine. And at first I'm like, well, because we are just two human beings at the same time, but that's kind of not, if we broke up, I would be devastated, but you'll be fine. I mean, okay. It's weird. They also started to become indifferent about special days like Valentine's Day. They didn't really want to put in the effort of like making it a special day about us. And instead they kept saying like, I just want to do whatever you want to do. Like, no real effort into it. They didn't really like prioritize even hanging out on that day. It was like weird. I'll never forget this too. Like, they also was saying, I don't see you as a good fit mother for me, a good wife. And that broke my heart, At the same time, I like felt like it was my fault. Like, no matter what I did, no matter how much I tried, like trying to provide for myself, my life, and then also trying to be the best girlfriend to him, it was very devastating to hear those words, especially when it's like the first time you ever felt like you might get close to that stage of marrying someone. One moment we were good, the next we were over. But looking back, I realized it wasn't really sudden at all. Technically, it has been happening for months. He was mentally detaching long before he physically left. And I truly believe that his environment really reinforced him in his decisions. Like, he was surrounded by people who encourage more comfort than growth. He like never learned how to face hard conversations up front, and he avoided discomfort at all costs. Just wasn't ready for that type of relationship that I wanted. And that wasn't my fault. And if I'm being honest, part of those reasons why I missed those red flags was because of my own insecurities. I wanted to believe that if we loved each other, we would just figure it out together. But what I didn't realize is that some people just don't. They're just not ready to grow. Some people just want to feel comfortable with where they're at. And I was the type of person that always wanted to grow, push myself, evolve, and set forth for the next challenge. And for someone who just isn't ready for that, I can come off intimidating to them. But why this happened, growth versus comfort, the truth is, he thought he wanted someone like me. He thought he wanted a woman that was driven, independent, and always striving for more. But when reality set in, he realized what he actually needed wasn't growth, it was comfort. And that's okay. But the way he handled it, that's where the things went wrong. And that's where I got so hurt at the end. But for real, trauma and upbringing can play a huge role of what someone can bring into the relationship, or what they don't realize that they're bringing into their next relationship. Unresolved trauma shapes the way people handle relationships. When someone has grown up avoiding tough conversations, avoiding conflict, and seeking validation, especially from those around them, that pattern will repeat in their relationship until they decide to break it. That's why healing is so important. If you don't heal from your past, you'll just keep recreating the same scenario in your future. And even me, myself, I had a pattern that I was doing, and I realized I had to break that, but I couldn't see it until I went through that pain to learn how to avoid that pain altogether. What can I do better next time to not put myself in a situation like that? Because that pain was so unbearable. I did not find another reason to live. And then at the same time, it went back to seeking external validation. I, again, I'm not the same person that I used to be, but I'm also appreciative of what I had to go through in order to be a better person today. And just like, and just like me, I didn't even know I had a pattern, a cycle that I was going through. And so once I realized that, I was like, oh, wait, I can see the issue here that I also contributed to. Waiting for that apology from someone is kind of pointless. It's all about understanding what happened. Sometimes even they themselves don't even realize that they're creating a cycle, creating a pattern. Who are they to tell you when they don't even know why they did X, Y, and Z? But that's why I think therapy, using ChatGPT, oh my gosh, use it. It creates this logic, unbiased, factual thing that most human beings go through all the time since the time of day one of life, of human beings being on this earth. Like, we all repeat the same patterns, we all create the same scenarios, situations, and it's all due to how you're raised, your trauma, your inner or lack of healing. So it's truly so good to hear why things play out. I just think if you are going to use like ChatGPT to like understand why your relationship, if you're searching for clarity and you're asking ChatGPT like why your relationship may have ended, I 100% promise you, if you're as honest as can be, share insights that you probably didn't even share to your friends or family. If you share all the things and even take some accountability on your end, it will give you the fair answer. That's what I love about it, because it really gave me the knowledge that I needed to know and even to grow. That's why I think it's so useful from an unbiased perspective and mostly logical answers that can be given to help you find your clarity. Realizing that it wasn't just about me, this was about deeply ingrained patterns that started way before me. Some people don't choose growth and you can't force them to. It wasn't about me not being enough. It was about them not ready for that type of a relationship. The biggest lessons I've learned: growth and comfort can't coexist in a relationship. If someone has to shrink you in order for them to feel comfortable, that's a sign that you're outgrowing them. The second I decided I want to move into my high rise. Whoa. Look at their actions and not their words. They said that they wanted to move out to a different house and get a house at that particular location, and they never made the actions, or their actions never aligned to what they were wanting to do, or they wanted to grow their business and they never put forth the effort towards that. People can talk about their future all day, but what they do daily will tell you the truth. Unresolved trauma will always show up in relationships. If you don't deal with the things holding you back, they will show up in your relationships. And how you communicate, how you handle stress, and how you navigate love. External validation cannot sustain a relationship. I feel like me and my ex always had that issue where we low-key like seeked for external validation, and it's just what happens when you have, certain types of parents that make you feel, always critique you in a way, and you never kind of feel like enough. I had to learn the hard way, not just with them, but with myself. That's why self-awareness is so important. If we don't recognize our patterns, we're doomed to repeat it. And I've heard many women try to say, well, since I know the answer and the knowledge, I'm just going to share this to my partner so they can know and be better. That's the thing. You can't share knowledge to someone who doesn't even see that they're the problem. Like, I would always think to myself before, like during my breakup, that year of my breakup, I always thought, well, he's gonna have to at some point reach out to me, because there's just no way he's just that kind of a person. But that's the thing, like, whatever he went through and the way they handle things, they can't see the problem unless they see that they created a problem. Even if they were to come to you and say, oh, I'm sorry, I did this and that, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've changed. You know what I mean? Because again, they deeply have to know what is the issue with them internally in order to really change their outer world. Sometimes they jump into another relationship in order to avoid and hide from the pain that they're feeling. I'm not saying that that is that person currently, because I don't know if they've changed or not. Like, who knows? But at the same time, like, I hear other women say, like, or even men say that they kind of jump back into a relationship with someone thinking that they changed, but in reality, like, it's based off their actions. Look at their actions and see if it really has happened. Give it more time to see if they really have changed, because people can say that they've changed and their actions are not matching up to that. They have not changed. So if you've ever gone through a breakup that felt sudden or confusing, I hope this helped you see things in a different way. Because sometimes the best closure isn't necessarily an apology, it's understanding. And if you're someone that struggles with these patterns, just know that it's never too late to heal. But you have to be willing to do the work. If this video resonates with you, let's talk in the comments. Have you ever had an experience where someone chose comfort over growth? Let's share and learn together. And if you want more videos on self-growth, relationships, and healing, make sure to subscribe. And just remember, the right person won't need you to shrink.